The movie begins with a young lady, Soo-jin, lying in a hospital bed. Her husband, Jae-hoon, is by her side. They are then outside, with Soo-jin in a wheelchair and her husband wheeling her at a leisurely pace. She looks into a small book that states that her father died in 2001 and her mother in 1993. She then asks him when did he first tell her that he loved her. He tells her that it was not at their wedding or even before. Jae-hoon is then shown organizing their apartment and hanging a painting on a wall. In the next scene, the husband and wife drive in a car in a city at night. Soo-jin asks her husband what if she meets with someone who knows her. Jae-hoon answers that they have practiced this many times. He then refreshes her memory on what to say if it is a female, and then if it is a male. When they arrive at the building of their residence, Jae-hoon runs up first and tells his wife to stay outside the building while he takes their belongings in. We are then shown that Jae-hoon is setting up a surprise for his wife by lighting candles on a cake. Soo-jin then enters the building and then the elevator. She presses the button to take her to the 10th floor, but only 2 seconds go by before the building's power shuts off when she starts going up. Soo-jin gets stuck in the elevator and starts panicking. When Jae-hoon comes in to rescue her, he finds her lying in the elevator unconscious. He is in turmoil from such a discovery, and then he takes her home, where she is then shown lying on the couch. He explains to her what happened, and she asks about the cake. He tells her that today is the anniversary of the day she returned. A later scene has Soo-jin in the elevator. A little girl comes in with an unzipped backpack. Soo-jin notices this and zips it up for her after she greets her. But as she does, she gets a vision of some of the happenings that took place with the girl. When the girl leaves the elevator, Soo-jin is shown to be slightly taken aback by the vision. Then she walks outside and something abnormal happens. An event starts to unfold that mimics the vision that she had in the elevator. While the little girl from earlier is crossing the street, a cyclist slightly hits her by accident, and she falls down. A huge truck approaches and honks at her, and Soo-jin, seeing this, runs to the girl's rescue. Her husband then appears and saves Soo-jin instead. The little girl then walks normally across the street. At another time, Soo-jin sits in a playground and then sees the little girl enter the same building. She goes after her and they meet once more in the elevator. Soo-jin asks her if she is okay after yesterday's incident, but the girl says nothing. Soo-jin touches the little girl's hands, and by doing so she gets another vision. But she does so only after the girl leaves the elevator. She envisions something negative to come from stove fire. She then stands slightly out of the elevator to observe the little girl, and sees that the first part of the vision, of how her mother greets her, just unfolds in real. A short while after that, the entire incident took place, but Soo-jin was not there to directly observe it this time. Husband and wife are then conversing with a doctor. Soo-jin tells the doctor about the visions and how they function as some sort of prophecy. But the doctor gives her the standard explanation of her visions being a product of the cerebral cortex damage she received. They are not prophecies, but just illusions. Soo-jin walks out of that doctor's office, saying that no matter what she says, she will be thought of as being crazy. A later scene shows Soo-jin waking up from another vision. She walks into her living room and sees a note from Jae-hoon telling her to take her medicine. 2 policemen then come to her and ask about her injuries. They then mention that if it was possible that her husband could have given them to her. But Soo-jin says that everything is fine, and the policemen leave her premises. In the elevator again, a young lady enters and drops one of her mails. Soo-jin picks it up and hands it to her, and in doing so, she gets another vision. When the young lady leaves the elevator, Soo-jin stands in terror at this particular vision. She then chases after that female and stops her as she opens the door to her apartment. She warns her of what could happen to her with some mail there. But the lady opens the door anyway and greets her father, the man that Soo-jin was trying to describe. Later at their home, Jae-hoon and Soo-jin speak about where they both were today. Soo-jin says that she visited her art class, and her husband remarked if that meant she got her memory back. But she said that she just remembered that. And then she asked if she really is who he says she is. The 2 policemen are then shown in their office. They are watching some surveillance footage of vehicles driving by a road. They then see one black vehicle driving out of what they say is a construction site, and they are also discussing goods being stolen from it. One of them zooms in on the driver, and he says that it is the husband of Soo-jin, whom he recognized from the wedding photo in her apartment. Jae-hoon then walks the interior of an apartment where many red sticky notes are attached to many different items. He then opens a drawer and takes out a passport to look at it. It is revealed to be his wife's passport. In another elevator scene, Soo-jin gets in with the father of that other young lady that she saw in her vision. She gets another vision involving him in there, and it is yet again disturbing. As he begins his exit, Soo-jin tells him not to touch the girl. She then tells him that she will report him if anything happens to her. At that point, the man gets angered and puts his hands on Soo-jin. She gets another vision while that happens and then falls out of the elevator. Her husband then comes to her aid, and she tells him Unit 706. At night, Soo-jin goes to investigate that room alone. She hears sounds coming from it, and eventually, it starts budging. She runs away and the door opens. A man is shown coming out, dragging with him heavy luggage, just like in Soo-jin's elevator vision. The man then drops a silver bracelet with a leaf on it. Later, Soo-jin goes to visit her friend again in the art class. Her friend asks her if her husband hit her again, so it is at that point shown that he did it before. Her friend also told her that Jae-hoon thought that she was cheating on him, Then she asks the security at her place about the pictures she received earlier. He said that he gave it to her husband, who had a big suitcase with him as well. Soo-jin then adds the pieces together in her mind about her husband not being truthful. She comes home and searches for something, and ends up finding the bracelet with the leaf on it that she saw fall from the man leaving Unit 706. She then reports all of this to the police, and when her husband comes in, she says that it was him, but he says that it is her delusion at work. All of them then go to Unit 706 to see if Soo-jin is telling the truth, but that room is revealed to be empty. No one is living there. The visions turned out to sometimes deliver falsehoods, and Jae-hoon is no longer under immediate suspicion. At a later time, Soo-jin goes into the elevator, and then Jae-hoon enters in with her. She now gets a vision involving him. She follows him and sees that the vision is truthful once more. When they go back home, she gets another vision and tells him not to go somewhere or he will get killed. When he leaves, Soo-jin finds a picture on the wall of her being married to someone else. She then goes to a construction site at night and sees someone dragging perhaps a dead person. She then sees that it is her husband doing the dragging. He then spots her and she starts to run away. He follows her. Eventually, he catches her and she confronts him. She asks him who he is and if he killed Jae-hoon and took his name, but he just tells her that he did this all for her. Police then arrive and bring both of them down. Soo-jin tells them that there is a dead body there, but when they come to look for it, it is not there. She becomes frustrated and keeps repeating how she saw it, despite there being nothing. She then opens the luggage from earlier and finds nothing but a lot of heavy tools. The police then use a sledgehammer from that luggage to break some concrete. In there, the hand of a person gets revealed. He wears a watch, and Soo-jin recalls it as being the watch of that other person she is married to in that picture in her apartment. During the confession to the police, the man that took Jae-hoon's name says that he was planning to kill Soo-jin for her insurance money. One of the policemen then gives her a paper with her real living address. He says that if she goes there, then she might remember something. She then asks who is that man is confessing. Sun-woo. The policeman tells her that he is her adoptive older brother. Afterward, Soo-jin returns to her building of residence and knocks on a door. A female opens it from the inside and wears a name tag that says Soo-jin on it. She walks the interior and then it becomes apparent that she is walking in the past. She sees her younger self sitting at a desk and carving into the leaf of that silver bracelet. Then she sees herself with supposedly her husband. He gets very abusive with Soo-jin, and then from behind, Sun-woo appears and hits him hard with a metal object, perhaps killing him. He then tells her where she should go after that. After that, Soo-jin goes to the address she received on the note. It is that apartment with the red sticky notes attached to many items. While there, her original husband enters the room, and he is apparently not dead. He tries to get a hold of her, but Soo-jin runs to another room. She calls the police and tells them that her husband, Jae-hoon, is alive. While the police try to deal with this information, Soo-jin and her husband fight in that room. Sun-woo then escapes from the confession room and takes one of the policemen's cars. Back at the apartment, Soo-jin is held captive by her husband. Soo-jin has another vision of the construction site. Her husband is there discussing with some other wrongdoer how he will kill his wife. Her husband then kills him by stabbing him with a knife. As her husband is finishing cementing the person in, Soo-jin then comes in from behind and observes it. Her husband starts to come after her, but she ends up hitting him in the head with a metal pipe. He loses consciousness, and blood exits him. Later, Sun-woo arrives at the construction site and sees what has happened. He drags the body of her husband and tosses him into the liquid cement along with the other that her husband killed. Soo-jin becomes devastated that all this happened because of her, throws herself off, and lands a good distance onto a pile of dirt. This is how she came to lose her memory. Then back at the apartment, Soo-jin's husband spills gasoline throughout the room. He then throws a lit cigarette on the floor, setting the room on fire. When Sun-woo arrives up the stairs, he meets Jae-hoon, who stabs him in the stomach with a knife. The two policemen then arrive and go up the stairs as well. While going up, they encounter Jae-hoon and bring him down. Then Sun-woo, injured and bloody, enters the room Soo-jin is trapped in. He searches for her in the fire and finds her lying unconscious near a couch. He picks her up and tries to carry her out of the burning room, but it is blocked by fire. They sit by the window, and Soo-jin sees that he came for her. She discovers his wound and becomes hurt by it. She then says that she remembers everything now, and she cries due to it. The fire then gets out of control and appears to engulf them. The next scene shows Soo-jin lying in a hospital bed. The two policemen come to visit her. She asks them where her brother is, and they say that he was found dead. They say to her that he covered her from the flames and saved her. They then hand her a package from Sun-woo. She watches it and it reveals a video of his interview about why he wants to move to Canada. In it, he says he is mostly doing it for his sister, Soo-jin. The picture of the lake from the beginning of the film is also there. She is then shown to walk there in the reel, and Sun-woo is standing there by her side. He then disappears, as he is only a memory now. The final scene shows the marriage picture being taken of Soo-jin and her husband, and after that, the picture of her with Sun-woo. He is told by the photographer to switch sides with her, because the groom stands at her right, but he should be at her left. He does so, and the picture that hung in their apartment gets taken.